about this team when you made the the new NBA roster. These are going to be, I don't know, lots of smiles, lots of laughs. Like 4 guys that really enjoy playing. But yeah, you heard it again. The listening from the CTF, they were very, very flustered, and it's probably part of it could be you're not used to losing something like Hardpoint. You come into a series and drop both. I'm sure there's some frustrations, but guys, we still have a ton of action today. That was only our first match of 5. The analysis is going to break it down next. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Folks, welcome back to the CWL Pro League, and we got a little bit of a theme going on here. We're going to be talking about slow starts on the desk right now. My name is Rich Campbell, and I'm joined by Revan and Nameless. And, you know, one of the teams that was off to a slow start was definitely Splice. Right now, they start to pick things up a little bit. Before we actually talk about everything that went down, though, in that first series of the day, I want to just bring up the fact that they even mentioned it on things like Hot Mic. Look, they got roster changes, and they have EU practice. Nameless is someone who's played in situations like that. How hard can it be to really find your footing and kick things off in the Pro League?
I mean, well, look, right? When you're on a team that makes a roster change, you're not realistically supposed to be that good off the rip. You know what I mean? It's going to take time. So looking at a team like Splice to make a roster change, I know we see a lot of these teams that are good initially, they're going to take a little bit to get better. You know, last week we seen them in a lot of really close games that they couldn't close out. They looked extremely good right there, and I think it might be a testament to the practice they're getting over here at the league. You know, they said they hooked up all their stuff day one. They got here a day earlier. I was speaking with them earlier, and that's what they told me. They were here one day earlier, scrimming, playing every day, getting that practicing against NA teams, and trying to figure out how to play with their new pickup. And I think that's what's proven to be good for them right now.
I think that's something we need to think about as well as we move forward in the league. We know even when we head over to Division B, that's obviously going to be, there are a lot of roster changes going on. Those rosters having even more time to find their footing. Now, another thing that happened with Splice, though, Revin, Game 5s. It was a really tough thing for them when you actually look how many Game 5s could have changed their fate.
Not just Game 5s. I mean, Search and Destroy in general. They start off the league, what was it, going 1-5 in Search and Destroy. Obviously, that's not a recipe for success. And I think a big thing that helped Splice throughout that series against Envy is Mad Cat finally got some help. Coming into this series, he was by far and away the top performer on this Splice lineup, and especially in that first map, the St. Marie Dumont Hardpoint, the SMGs really showed up for Splice. They gave Mad Cat some help, they established some pressure on the map, and they took pressure off of Mad Cat's shoulder. He no longer had to be the hard carry for the Splice lineup because he had players around him playing to their full potential.
Another thing I want to highlight is Jerd. You know, he started off that Valkyrie Hardpoint 21-9, so especially when Jerd's shooting like that, what are you going to do, right? He's a talented dude, he's a freak, and you can't do anything when you're playing against somebody who's gone off like that. So shout out to Jerd, definitely was playing amazing in that series, helping Mad Cat out.
I heard Maven tried to take credit for it by saying it was hot mic juice.
Oh,
that has
sure.
just been, it's just been, Maven has managed to say so many stupid things around that show. It's truly impressive to me that he can keep going and never ceases to amaze us in this stupidity department. But let's move ahead and look at the schedule. We got the next matchup, and we're going to keep moving with this theme of slow starts because FaZe Clan, let's be honest, they have an awful start here in the league. More losses already in Stage 2 than they even had in Stage 1. If they fall to Epsilon, the question is this a team that can even bounce back, Revin?
I mean, look, there could only be one, right? Both these teams so far, they don't have a win just yet, and by the end of this match, one of these teams is going to find their first one for Stage 2.
Slow starts all around, but I will say Epsilon maybe a little bit more expected to have a slow start than FaZe after the performance that they have just put on.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of expect Epsilon to not be that good of a team just because of their past performances, but FaZe, definitely unexpected. I think Epsilon should be a series they're able to take, especially bringing that confidence back. I think they're going to really need to dominate this series if they want to have a chance. But obviously, I'm going to lean towards FaZe, Stage 1 champions. They still have it in them. It's just something's going wrong for them, and I'm not quite sure what it is outside of the gameplay. I think they just need to kind of get their chemistry back and get confidence within each other.
Here's the thing that worries me a little bit, Nameless, with a team like FaZe. Do you think they're particularly good at playing do you think they play down sometimes to their competition? Do you think that might be a problem that they have right now going up against a squad like Epsilon?
Well, one thing about FaZe was that even in Stage 1, they would be outslaying by like a bunch of kills, and they would only win by a little bit. So I think that a little bit of the fundamentals is something that FaZe isn't too good at, and I think that it's just coming around to bite them in the butt right now. I think that they kind of need to just get back to the fundamentals, fix a couple core things in their gameplay, and it'll just show, because there's no lack of slaying power on this team, right? Like, when we watch this team, they're getting a bunch of kills, and it's just something's going wrong outside of it.
I completely agree with your sentiment, Nameless. Whenever I watch FaZe play, especially throughout Stage 2, they just seem to be like very undisciplined on the map. I mean, you have Zuma running around and doing his thing, but there's not a lot of follow-up. And that man on your screen right now, Priesta, he's the guy who at the beginning of the year was having such a standout performance, and he was playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. A lot of people were questioning, why is this guy on the roster? And he had to prove his spot, and he had to prove the community that he deserved to be here. But lately, I feel like he hasn't really been performing like we're used to seeing from him. But, you know, it's tough to play at that level of play, you know, throughout every single match. But here you go. Vito's now coming into play. St. Marie as well as Valkyrie are going to be our hard points. Moving ahead in the Search and Destroy. Let's see what these guys have in store for us. But really quick, you were talking about the slang that FaZe bring to the table. Right now, Zuma does have the highest KD on this FaZe lineup, but it's only a 1.02. So I think everybody on this lineup could step up when it comes to just general slang around the map.
Wow. I mean, when the fundamentals aren't there, you're obviously not going to be able to get as many kills as you once were. But I think this is going to be a beautiful story in the making. I think FaZe definitely has what it takes to bring it back, and it's just whether they're going to be able to do it in time or not. Right now is definitely the time they need to turn up and win this. So
this is where it definitely starts slipping out of your hands, right? If they're not able to take down this win against Epsilon all of a sudden, and you know, there are probably plenty of people in chat right now, hi, how you guys doing? But they're probably also saying that this is just so in favor of FaZe. But you have to think about that. If a team does maybe play down here, both of these teams coming in with a complete lack of momentum, no wind in their sails, but that's going to change. the first win for one of these teams is going to be picked up. By the end of this, they're going to be hanging out alone as the only team to not win, whoever does lose this match.
Yeah, and FaZe has a doubleheader today, so if they can win this, they can bring the momentum into the next match. But we see back-to-back Londons, which we know FaZe has been good at previously. This does look like a good matchup for them. I'm leaning towards FaZe in a 3-0.
I think FaZe is going to be able to 3-0 this. Okay, so Revan, do you also think that this is a map pool that's favorable for FaZe to be able to come out hot?
I would like to think so. I really would. Obviously, it's easy to favor FaZe coming into this matchup since we already have low expectations of Epsilon, but just the way FaZe have been playing throughout Stage 2, I know we kind of have already hit that point home, but it's tough for me to call it. And this is actually pretty crazy because FaZe should be the favorites coming into this one, and they should come into the series just handling business 3-0, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
It's not tough to call it.
I mean, hey, there's a technical term for the situation that both of these teams are in right now. It's referred to as yikes. Both of them are in an absolutely terrible, terrible place. Did you know that? I know you have years of Call of Duty experience, but right now, have I taught you something?
Who brought this guy back on the desk? Where's Ben?
Yikes, for sure.
All right, with that, we're going to be jumping to a quick commercial break. When we return, who is going to finally get their first win in Stage 2 of the CWL Pro League?
Been waiting for this moment, and it's finally here. The Call of Duty World League Championship.
Pushing back, they can't let them contest. 239, 239, 3 go down. They're taking it, and Glaze is roaring.
Attach comes back. Here's the gunfight. Attach is able to win it. That's how it It feels like Champs is around the corner, Chance. I know we got a couple of months and a lot of CWL action, but buddy, I can't wait. Champs is fun.
It's like 2.5 months, I think.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. But like, think about it. It's like, it seemed like a week ago. It was the beginning of stage 1. And, oh yeah, that's right. I'll come down here with you, buddy.
It seemed like a week ago.
No, it didn't. It was a long time. We've casted a lot. Well, you've done a lot of analysis.
Chance the analyst.
Now
we got to change the Twitter tag. Yeah, they give us FaZe and Epsilon, man. Come on.
No, hey, what do you mean? A battle of the 0-3 teams. Is there any chance that Epsilon take this series?
Yeah, of course. There's a chance they take every series. It's a very, very small one, but the option's always there. I think the biggest problem for them is they have 2 map wins. Both are on Flak Tower. They didn't get Flak Tower through because FaZe is like, oh, this is the only map that they're good on. Let's get rid of that, and we guarantee the series. I think FaZe will have this in the bag. Don't think it'll be an issue. Yeah, they should be fine.
Well, on the other side of it, let's talk about FaZe a little bit. You know, we talked on Hot Mic a little bit. The guys all seem to think that FaZe are going to be back to FaZe form this week. Is that what you expect?
No. I don't, not at all. I think they're just in a mentally terrible space. I think I heard rumors of like Itachi's is going to be like the flex player instead of Priesta, and I don't know if that's true or if it's substantiated.
I believe it said on Hot Mic and then maybe a couple tweets, but I think that's the plan, yeah.
Yeah, so no, I don't think their head's in the right spot. And I think the biggest issue is when you say return to form, they were just too good in the past. Like, I think they will be much better than they were last week. I think they will definitely be one of the teams that contends for top 4. But no, I don't think this FaZe roster will win another tournament. I don't think they just have it in them anymore. I think that ship is sort of sailed from where they were. But again, still are going to be much better than they were in week number 1. They will start to get some wins on board. And again, we'll start fighting for that playoff spot.
And then for Epsilon, I think so far performance-wise is roughly right around where we expected it to be. They are the sort of odd man, like the team on the outside. That it feels like everyone else is fighting for top 4, and no one's really giving them a chance. I wonder if that we kept waiting for that. I guess that switch to flip, if that's going to happen with this team. We know what some of these players have been capable in the past, and just start today.
Now, they are the team of joy. They bring joy to whoever they are playing against. It just makes it the nice, comfortable match. Let's have some fun, of course. You talked about on Hot Mic with Apathy. They do play spoiler. If they get that first series win, I have to imagine that's going to nearly eliminate whatever team that is from playoff contention. It's going to be funny if Epsilon gets that one win and it happens to be on the team that gets first in the division, if it works out that way. But that shouldn't be the case. Realistically speaking, they're not going to do well, but they are good enough that they're going to at least win one. They're going to string a good series together. It's going to happen, and honestly, this is the best opportunity for them to do it against a FaZe that's making the role swaps mid-tournament. Well, not mid-tournament, mid-weeks, I guess, between the Pro League, but in the middle of some intense action. If they can catch FaZe just even with a slow start, get some maps on board, it's feasible for Epsilon. But again, I mean, the team of joy, you just have low expectations for them at this point.
Well, we'll see what they're able to do. I don't think they thought when they looked at this on the calendar playing against FaZe that they'd be 2 teams fighting maybe for their first victory. I don't think Epsilon thought that. I don't think FaZe probably thought that either, at least from their side. It'll be interesting to see if that role swap makes a difference for this FaZe lineup. Obviously, we've talked a lot about FaZe, and one of the big standout things is they're really the only contender, the only top team that comes out of Roster Mania without making a change. So you got to think, I mean, a lot of these guys have been playing together a long time if they're going to be able to fix the issues and bring it back. But I still thought one of the more wild things is just that they literally have more losses already in Stage 2 than they did in all of Stage 1 that we played for a week. It's crazy to me.
If anything, that's just a testament to how good they were, though, when they did win playoffs. Like, they found fire at the perfect time. And you got to think about it. This first week in the Pro League is not the perfect time this next set of the year to catch fire. Yes, you want to do it at some point just to make playoffs, but that's when you want to get hot. For that $500,000 tournament, for the 1 point whatever million it is for champs, that's when you want to be the good team. So one bad week, it's easy to put in the back of your mind. And with how relaxed some of the players are for FaZe, you got to look at replays. He is the most chill person we have in the league, and I don't understand it in the slightest, but they'll be able to bounce back. Again, I think the mental headspace, they're in an okay spot, but at the same time, the roster changes. It gets a little bit iffy, but they should be better. I'll put the money on it. They'll win this series.
Do you give them a chance to go on like a 4-hour run this week and suddenly be sitting in the top 4?
God, who do they have? I think they play.
Echo Fox would probably, I think, maybe say the biggest test.
I think it should be. I think it's technically an easier week, even though they have 4 matches. I think they played the tougher competition last week. Like, I think they had to play your TK. I think Echo Fox is the toughest one. So the question is, can they beat Epsilon? Yes. Can they beat Splice? Honestly, Splice looks pretty good, so it's not going to be easy, but FaZe should be able to do it.
They looked damn good in that
best.
series. That last one they did, yeah.
Fox is a tough call, but again, Splice didn't look great last week, or they looked better than expected maybe, but 1 and 3 not the best, and then they look incredible today. FaZe, they're trying to have the exact same story behind them.
Well, let's see what FaZe can do early. Everybody dropping really outside of Priesta. He's trying to get into top red with an awkward gunfight. He's just going to get away from that one and try to push out the other side. That works out as he finds the weak hockey on the backside, but it's Epsilon that's finding the points on the scoreboard early.
Well, Attach is going to try to find the, maybe not power position, but the most important position on this restaurant hill. It's controlling these mid steps. It allows you to control people inside the hill. It allows you to control up top, and it basically tells your teammates, hey, there's now only 2 things that you realistically have to watch. The mid-map push to jump up top sandbags, which honestly he can kind of handle himself, and just flooding in the front of the hill. But of course, now you see the rotation is coming in. Dave has been able to sneak by, and he's got the gunfight against Replays, takes him down, but at the same time, 8 seconds left on the hill. He's by himself, and he's getting trapped in. He's got to go for a miracle, and Zuma's just going to take him down.
Well, we talked last week about Dave, the fact he was switching from that main AR role, pulling out a submachine gun. Hockey was taking over that AR role. Did you see anything you liked about it? Obviously, the results weren't there, but did you like anything about the swap?
No. Not really. I mean, there's not much from Epsilon you could really say that you do like. I mean, I guess it's an attempt, and you appreciate they're trying something, but the something just isn't working. And at the moment, Dave, you see again, he's found himself where he's trying to make the hero play, but oddly enough, he ends up getting taken down by his teammate. Yes, it's a small thing, but it's just kind of like the Epsilon way. They're like, even when they're trying to make a smart play, trying to stay alive at the back to cause confusion, it's still not working. Replays hasn't gotten a kill, and so far so good, but there's a clean 4 down. Reedy gets 2, Vortex gets the next 2, and Epsilon, you see they're in control, but FaZe is half pushing for the old time, and they're half pushing for new, but we'll see what happens. Epsilon, a huge opportunity here on this rotation.
And for Epsilon, another opportunity, I think, for improvement is going to be Vortex. He's actually, if you're talking statistically, he probably struggled as much as, if not more than every player through week 1. And when you think about that, you're wondering if maybe the role swap hurt him the most for some reason. Maybe if he can get into a bit of a groove, they'll find some life here for this team. But right now, they are set up nicely here for parking lot. It's going to be on FaZe to try and get the break. The first couple of gunfights, though, none other than Vortex. He's able to take those and put his team in a good position here and now take the lead.
And assuming he can win this 1v1 against Attach, who's still working on the flank, well, now he's actually got a couple players to deal with. FaZe is going to be forced to flood, but now because Reedy picks up 2 in the front, they got to come in the sides, but Vortex is going for the full wrap, and by the time he gets here, his teammates have pretty much done sort of the legwork anyway, so yeah, we talked about it. The perfect hold thus far from Epsilon, and even if FaZe were able to break, it's still a pretty solid hill, but now they got to get inside. Zoom is able to pick up 1, Replays picks up another, now it's Vortex by himself, working on streaks as well, gets the 100-point bump, but gets cleaned up from the side, but not a bad hill.
That was still big. I mean, when I first looked at him and wanted to bring up his struggles, I think he was 1 and 5. So from 1 and 5 to 7 and 8, and even if they only take the lead for really half a hard point, it was a lead at that. But now let's rotate over to lookout post. FaZe is going to be set up. 3 players from Epsilon going to be hitting their near top white with 1 mid-map. Replays holding the edge with the AR. 1 kill comes in, and some damage there. I think to pick up the... Did he get an assist on that as well? Well, he's at least able to pick up the kill, and look how close he is to Streak's chance getting there.
Absolutely, and he's got his teammates kind of like flooding around him. Attach is just going to be able to pick up 3, and how easy does that make Replay's job? He's holding an angle, and nobody even shows up, and if they had even come past, Attach would have had him weak. And again, that would just be feeding kills, but now you can see that the hill swap has kind of come over. You can see that Replays is going to be focused on getting those streaks, and I've seen Replays in this spot before. We see time and time again where someone's playing for streaks and they get a little bit over aggressive. I've seen Replays spend a minute and a half not taking a gunfight just to try and prioritize them. He does get taken down, though, because he was tagged up from the first player, so huge kills coming out from Reedy, but FaZe does retake that lead.
And one guy we haven't pointed out too much yet, despite the fact that he's 18 and 8, is Zuma. I mean, he must have watched that first series. He saw what Jerd was doing in the opening of these hard points as he was starting out double positive and dominating through the opening minutes. Zuma getting his Jerd on right now. 19 and 8, finally gonna fall, but a spectacular performance here early. The difference, though, when you looked at Splice, when Jerd was going off, it was, what, a 100-point advantage typically for Splice in those hard points. FaZe haven't really found much separation yet.
And that might honestly be kind of like the crux for FaZe's success is Zuma frying. If he's frying, then yes, they will be able to beat some of the best teams in the world, but it's a close game here against Epsilon when the man is 20 and 9. Of course, maybe there's not too much else for his teammates to do. It's not like they're having a poor performance, but again, if you're FaZe, you definitely want to be most dominant against Epsilon, against who you expect to be that bottom team in the league.
And the guy leading the way, at least for the slaying charge right now for Epsilon, is Reedy. He's 16-13. He's got 46 seconds, the most time in the Hardpoint on his squad as well. But now let's pay attention to the rotation here out of Restaurant. It's going to be on FaZe to try and break through. There is a pick from the attached grenade. Unfortunately, though, Reedy immediately spawns up safe in the back. So things looking good early for Epsilon.
Absolutely. FaZe, though, they have a lot of pressure in front of Juan right now. Dave's the important guy, and he wins an important gunfight against Zuma. Does get cleaned up, but his teammates, for the moment, yeah, they still maintained a good spawn. They're going to be in the back. This makes it tough for FaZe to break through, but if you win the 1v1s, it's going to make the job quite a bit easier. Now you just have the scrappy fights back and forth, and honestly, it's anyone's hill.
Well, this is something we saw Splice do really good in the last series. Envy had ammo spawn. FaZe had to flood the front over and or sorry, not FaZe. Splice had to flood the front over and over and over again. Did an excellent job, and they racked up a ton of time and really didn't allow Envy to get anything. FaZe is able to burst through the front as well. You also have Replays now who's fully streaked out on a 5 streak. Now I think is where things start to get scary for Epsilon finally in this match.
And that's a weirdly impressive game so far from Replays, who's calling in the fighter pile. It's going to find 1, potentially up to 3, but it looks like Vortex and Hockey are able to dip away, but at the very least, it stops them in their tracks. Now you have the players just now starting to push the radio tower. Replays and Attach are just hanging out by the hill, and Zuma, of course, it's essentially a flank what he's working with up here, and he might even go to flank radio tower, but Epsilon is trapped. And once they try to flood, best case they get through, and you have to deal with Attach in the hill. Not an easy place to be.
We saw the streaks for Replays. Zuma getting very close to streaks as well. He's actually already got the glide bomb. He's going to call that in immediately and try and give Replays some help on the front side. What does he connect with? He will pick up the kill in the back. Replays does drop at the same time, and now Zuma, after the kill, is able to bring the flank in. He gets the artillery to go as well. Falls a little bit short of the fighter pilot, but remember, you still have stuff to work with on Replays as well.
And of course, the fighter pilot was the first streak called in, so Epsilon, the hand has been tipped. They should know that there's at least 1, if not like 3 more streaks they have to deal with. Do they switch to Mountain? I'm going to bet no. You see no one's made that switch so far. You still see Armored coming out. You still see Airborne. So the streak should be essentially hyper effective. Of course, that's only going to be for the 2 glide bombs that are going to be left on board. The artillery, there's not much you can do about, but just something to keep in mind. And you see the glide bomb, no Mountain. You know exactly where to look. And of course, the guys in the hill as well, just to make the job easier. But FaZe, if they find themselves in a bad spot, you have the bailout of the streaks.
And I know we highlighted Zuma a little bit earlier, but he has not slowed down.
No.
He's basically kept right around that 2.0 KD. He's one of those games where there's very few players that do it, where you just look at the scoreboard and you're like, oh, he's had 10 more kills than everybody else the entire game. Zuma has been dominant at killing his teammates as well. Attach will drop to his artillery. But right after that, Priest gets in the hard point, and FaZe Clan, they're going to get over that 200-point mark.
Yeah, Priest is still no. Actually, I don't even want to talk about him. I just want to talk about Replays. Again, when he was about to get streaks that first time around, talking about how he's a guy that plays around him very, very well. Literally the next life, he goes and gets fully streaked out. And I think that's a huge part of why Replays is a good player. He's just incredibly smart. He manipulates himself to be able to get streaks well. I'm pretty sure he did it on the Restaurant Hill. He had to have been juggling the hill to make that happen, but that's a huge value. When your main AR player, even if he's baiting out his teammates to do it, if he can get the full streaks, obviously that's huge. That can just win you the game outright, as long as your teammates are doing halfway decent. And as you can see, Zuma 34 kills, more than halfway.
On the other end of things, for Epsilon, this is maybe a chance where you get right back in the game. It seemed like FaZe was finally starting to open up maybe the lead you expect a little bit earlier in the game. But now a nice restaurant hold with Reedy leading the way inside. That's 3 in a row for him. Some streaks on him would be huge. Suddenly they're right back in this game, especially if they can get the remaining 20 seconds or so. You got to think FaZe is going to give this up. But look at Vortex. He's now going to get in behind. He can find these kills. Now, where do the spawns come in for FaZe? They spawn all the way out bottom, so this is perfect for Epsilon.
I mean, as good as it gets, I still just, I don't even know if I want to hype it up, Maven. I know that's the story of the game, but it's Epsilon. Like, I don't want to hype him up just to watch it collapse because they're still down by a full hill. They still have to deal with an artillery.
I thought they were going to get those 20 seconds on Restaurant and get the flip, but I was like, oh, this is perfect. But the FaZe do get the 20 or so seconds. That actually is pretty painful with this score line.
I mean, FaZe literally doesn't even have to play on this hill, right? Like, they could essentially just go ahead and go already preset up for next and put the artillery on that one for the cuts, but they're going to put it on this one. They're going to strip away as much time as they possibly can, but I was going to say Reedy for the moment just trying to stay alive, eventually gets taken down, but now FaZe, they have the opportunity to go for the break. They only need 25 seconds to win, and right about the front of the hill, yeah, the full 25 might come in. They got to keep him out of the hill, though, and the last one there is going to be Dave. Priest picks up 2, and Epsilon, they have to push. They can't rotate. They got to stop this time from coming in.
Both times we were at Winery, FaZe was able to bully the way in the front, this time behind the artillery, which gave them position in white. I know Epsilon gets right back in, but honestly, FaZe just getting any kind of time here is terrifying. Attaches by himself. He has to win like a 1-on-3 to win the game, which he's not going to do, but maybe a glimmer of hope. And then on the other side, it's Vortex this time as the early rotator, but he's by himself. We saw Dave in that position a couple times, so there's one guy there early, but no real help to supplement it.
Yeah, and then the 3 players that had to push the whole time for Attach in the hill are just across the map, and there's not much you can do. It's just an allocation of resources at that point. You only have so many bodies in the hill. Vortex, I think he picked up 2 or maybe 3 on that rotation. The next, he'd have had to have picked up like 5 just to keep Epsilon's hopes and dreams alive. That's why I didn't want to hype it up, Maven.
I know.
There's no hype for this game. Let's not pretend. We're not kidding ourselves.
Oh, I'm always trying to sell a story even when it doesn't exist, Chance. That's part of the job, I suppose. But there was maybe a 1% chance of life there down the stretch. But FaZe able to get the victory expected.
Good old Tommy P, man. The Italian stallion having himself a very nice game. And again, I just want to highlight replays because you don't always get this opportunity because statistically he's definitely not the best AR in the game, but he had a couple good moments. He started off 0-5, looked horrible. Granted, FaZe still had the lead, so all's well that ends well, but had the opportunity to maybe get streaks out, die to kill off of it. Immediately the next life, he goes on another 5 streak, gets fully streaked out, and was a huge factor in the opening for FaZe, where it was a close game initially. They ended up not blowing him out of the water, but winning convincingly.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I think Splice probably had the more convincing game 1 win, but I guess the one thing that was a little bit weird for me with FaZe is at times I felt like the lead, I guess, should have been bigger. I mean, yes, the 65-point victory looks good, but I guess I kept waiting for them, especially once the streak started to roll in, to really like blow the doors off of Epsilon. But Epsilon kept fighting. They kept it respectable. But now we get a London Dock Search and Destroy, which for much of the year has been FaZe's playground, especially in Search and Destroy. They've been very, very good there.
Yeah, and I know on the flip side of things, Epsilon, this is like their most played map by far, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're the best at it. They've had the most success, but again, the success is limited, like kind of outright. I will say something I'm interested in is whether or not Reedy snipes, because he snipes a little bit different than most people did on Docks, and that's something he did the very first week that he was on the team. Of course, once Epsilon made that initial roster change, and they saw a little bit of success with that, but of course, on the flip side of things, the question is, can you stop Zuma? Zuma will almost certainly be doing something related to sprinting up, either be on defense or mid-map or whatever it is, but he's playing for that first blood. And at the very least, even if Zuma gets it, just trade him out. Just trade him out, and then you got a straight-up 3v3, and you take down their best player. Just don't let him work any sort of horse magic.
No, Zuma is one of the players, though, that will somehow fly out mid-map, get a kill, and not die a lot of times. Like, he is, I don't want to say reckless exactly, but he very fearless on this particular map when he's trying to get aggressive. We'll see if it works out, or maybe if Epsilon can punish him a little bit. But yeah, this is, I mean, this kind of stands to my point earlier about why it's tough to have faith for Epsilon. Even if this, like, let's say, even if this is one of their better game modes, you're still going up against FaZe, who is just much, much better in this particular game mode. It's going to be difficult for them to find maps and series throughout the course of this month.
So this is something Octane's talked about, right? Where he's like the most annoying to people to play against, or like Attach and Zuma. There's subs that literally always in your face.
Octane said that on Hot Mic. He's like, I hate it. There's always in my face.
And I wonder how much more difficult it is, like when you take a gunfight with someone on FaZe and you don't know if it's replays or you don't know if it's Zuma. So you don't know if you're gonna get it like challenged instantly by Zuma, or if it's gonna replays that's gonna play it smart and just like hang out and be patient. So even just like individual gunfights against FaZe, they're probably just weird.
Well, here goes Zuma immediately, just out trying to peek mid-map. This time, at least he kind of jiggle peeks and waits a moment. He just doesn't go soaring out. Now Attach has gotten into position on those water steps, and they're going to try and make a play behind that. You can see Bomb for Priesta right now. He's sneaking up towards B. How many times have we seen like a lot of pressure towards mid-nay for FaZe, and Priesta just goes up towards B, wins a one-on-one, and gets the bomb planted, or just sticks it? He's just going to plant it. We've seen this so many times from FaZe. So he's going to go ahead and plant the bomb. And now the pressure all on Epsilon.
Well, now Dave was in a good spot, essentially waiting for Zuma as Replays watches over his teammate to save his life. But now Zuma played it patient enough that he should just be able to get the cleanup kill on Hockey. Dave left alive in a 1v3. He finds the first kill for the 1v2. But that bomb is watchable from mid-map. Replays can sit here all day, and Dave's probably going to be aware of it. And he's going to look for the challenge on the barrels. But Replays just has to waste time. And now the teammate, you see Zuma, he just hung out and fired the entire time. The coordination's perfect. We see time and time again on this map over at the B site, the bomb gets planted so you can't get killed from mid. Because Attach and Zuma had mid-map control, you plant it for the easy spot. You can watch it from underground incredibly easily. You can watch it from mid-map, and that's something a lot of teams don't capitalize on. They always plant for that safe spot early on, but then teams just go for the break incredibly easily. Very nice setup coming out from FaZe.
That's part of the reason that FaZe is so good at this map. They take mid and get control better than just about every other team. The question then will kind of be, how does Epsilon deal with that? Like, you can't allow Priest just to get these easy plants on B, these kind of free plants throughout the course of the game. And now look at the difference in how aggressive maybe the offense was from FaZe when you talk about actual map controls with Epsilon right now. Epsilon just like kind of pinned in the backside of barrel, back call, and FaZe is literally flying at them. Look where Zuma is on the damn map.
I mean, not even Zuma. Look where
Replays,
Replays.
That's what I meant. He just pushes straight through A and goes all the way up the blue truck.
Okay,
I thought it was Zuma for a second just because how far he was.
Man, I was about to say, I know it's only 2 maps in and only 2 rounds, but like if you have Replays pulling out a sub and he's flying it like your own spawn, that's a problem.
Well,
if it's like if FaZe is that comfortable, that's a problem.
Well, we've seen he mixes up a little bit on that A site, but a lot of times he likes to just book it in there with a fast glass and get to that close window. I think he just saw nothing and was like, all right, I'll keep going.
Yeah, that's I'm saying if Replays is playing that confident, Epsilon, they're gonna have to figure something out. And it's interesting as well because they're responding to the pressure by basically turtling in their base. With if FaZe overcommits, that's a good thing. But we saw what happened the previous round where Dave sits back and fire. He's waiting for Zuma to fly through and flank, and Zuma literally got as far as he possibly could and then stopped. And then they just had complete control. So controlling so far, they got to bounce back, and Dave playing a little bit more aggressive in fire. And you can see Zuma, this is the first time where he doesn't sprint through mid-map. FaZe, they're taking their time, they're playing it slow. And Vortex responding with pressure of his own.
This one-on-one is going to be crucial. Vortex just hurt him. He knows he's right on the other side. He got tagged up as well. Zuma, though, still able to win the gunfight. I don't know how much Dave got into him, but it seemed like he might have got a couple bullets in. Doesn't do anything to slow down Zuma. Zuma's now 4-0 to kick off this game. Replays is winning nice one-on-one gunfights, and it's a 3-2 advantage with, once again, Priest are just planning over towards B.
And it is, again, Dave left alive in the 1v3, make it a 0v3. Priest just wins the gunfight. Now, we've seen FaZe do this in the past. That's part of their strategy. Spread across the map, play for picks, let Zuma do his thing and just get the first bloods, even if they come to him. But Priest consistently has played by himself with bomb over the B site. Just stack B. Like, I think at some point, someone's just going to have to, like, call FaZe, like, call their bluff. Get that bomb down over by B, challenge Priest with 2 players. Even if you trade out for the 3v3 with bomb down, take the advantage.
You can see, watch when they're on offense, like, he'll kind of, Priest will kind of play back hole for a little bit, just obviously is waiting on communication from FaZe. As soon as they get eyes on anyone towards that A side, he starts to inch his way forward. Be curious to see how he plays it, how different it goes. If they spot more presence, sorry, don't spot anything towards maybe mid or A. Once again, Zuma is soaring in, but they'll get wall banged a bit there and have to back down.
And Epsilon, this is what we saw. They're basically praying that someone can get a pick, and of course the pressure's on Reedy because he's got the sniper. But
look at the map control. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Where are you supposed to go?
Nowhere. You got to just get more pressure early on. Or again, they could pray for the pick. Reedy gets 1. Vortex finds the 2nd. And yes, kills get traded out. And Attach actually is able to pick up 2. Zuma's going to go on the hunt. And all of a sudden, it's a 1v1. Zuma trying to run away. You got to imagine that player's going to chase him. But Vortex playing it a little bit slow. The question is, can they hear each other?
This is for 7-0 for Zuma. And a 4-0 advantage in this game. Zuma tagged up again. He wants to take the gunfight. Playing it patiently for now. All the pressure on Vortex to get this planted. Vortex instead just soaks up the bullets as Zuma guns him. I don't think any of us doubted for a second that Zuma was not going to win that.
So, dude, I hate watching Zuma play. It's so annoying watching this, man. And, like, so he was one shot. Vortex was in barrel shooting in the bag, and that's why I called out, like, oh, he's going to get chased. And then I looked on the minimap, and he was like, oh, I'm going to sit in barrels and then just play a straight-up 1v1 against Zuma. It did not go well. I don't know, man. Again, Zuma's just tough to play against in those situations. He is reckless isn't the right word because, like, he's incredible when he does it, but, like, I would just hate it. I hate watching Zuma play.
Oh, FaZe. So tough to beat here. This time, maybe they were thinking they can get Priest to cut, but of course this is the one time where the FaZe Clan offense gets mixed up a little bit. And once again, look where Priest is going to be this time. This time they don't give him the bomb, they give it to Attach. And they changed it up a bit. Hanaki gets shot in the back, things fall apart. Dave by himself. If you didn't hear us before this map, FaZe is very good at London Dock Search and Destroy.
And that's so absurd. Like, okay, so 2 rounds ago when I was talking about how Priest plays like by himself with a bomb, and I said just stack the site and pick him up, that's so much easier said than done. Like, I understand that it's idealistic that they won't even switch up the strat. And you can see when they do switch up the strat, instead of having complete mid-map control, they had that entire like right half of the map locked down. Priest, when he goes around a flank and he's like backfire, there's nowhere for Epsilon to even push from. They have had 0 map control basically this entire game.
No, it's kind of comical to look at. Like sometimes I wish there were little trailers on the little red line behind them, so you can like see where they've been. Just think of like kind of like a fog of war. How much map presence they've actually had has been disturbing. Ooh, Reedy, don't you dare, don't you dare. Oh, Tacha missed a shot he likely should have hit. Now you've got an advantage from them, but last time they had a 4v2 advantage, things fell apart. It came down to a 1v1 to clutch. So from 4v2 to 2v2 almost instantly yet again.
And that bomb is down in a bit of a sticky spot. And it looks like Epsilon, they're going to be going for that double flank. The question is Attach going to be aware of it? Even if they are, how much time is going to be left on the clock by the time they can get near this bomb? So, interesting spot. Dave and Vortex, they're playing it slow. See if they can just get around the board.
Attach should know now, yeah. But based on the flank replays just did, Attach should know, yeah. Now he's going to check the back. Got that information. Going to re-peek with the sniper, and Vortex we'll see on map 3. Dave now in a 1 versus 2. Oh, no. Bye. That's the game.
How?
That's the game.
He had Mountain on. How did Attach know?
That's the game.
That is the game. This is insane, like, S&D awareness. Like, if Epsilon played it a little bit quicker, maybe they catch Attach off guard. But it's basically as soon as he turns around, that's as soon as the players are there. He just knows before they...
Well, I think it was more replays because you were watching replays go all the way. He was, back barrels? As soon as he pushed through Cole and got eyes of the B site, he's like, Attach, they're not here, buddy. They've got to be flanking you. And as soon as he turned around, I mean, the timing, it could not have been better for FaZe based on the information. It could not have been worse for Epsilon.
I can understand, like, a player's coming from behind, but, like, he doesn't, like, he knows the specific angle. He's not worried about the wide push around and fire. It's like, oh, he's going to come up from top ladder. Right here, I can hold my breath and just get the timing perfect. Like, again, if I was playing against them, I just think they were cheating. It's insane. They're like S&D awareness.
That was a very lopsided game 2. FaZe looking for their first victory in stage 2. They just won that one 6-0. They blew Epsilon off the map. London Dock Search and Destroy for FaZe continues to be special. Can they close it out with a 3-0? welcome back. We've got two teams here that are 0-3 currently in Stage 2. FaZe Clan, I think, on the brink of taking their first victory. A convincing Game 1. One of the more dominant search and destroys I've watched in Game 2. Now it'll come out of the CTF, but I think we're probably looking at a 3-0.
Yeah, hopefully. Just get it over with, get out of the way, speed the day up a little bit. Yeah, that would just be delightful. Of course, Epsilon, they're only 2 map wins so far, both in CTF, but on a different map. And plus, Zuma has been frying, I guess, per usual from this year. But like what percentage of 1v1 gunfights do you think all of Epsilon is going to win against Zuma?
Oh, that's what's scary, right? And this is a map, especially like if FaZe gets in a rhythm, like if you get in a little bit of a groove, the snowball can be scary, the spawn trap can be scary, and you can get flags in a flurry. And that's already 3 down quickly for Epsilon. The last man's going to be Dave. Dave's got to get at least a kill here. He is able to get 1, 2 teammates come off spawn, but you've got Priest and Zoom in your face already. Priest is able to get it out. They look over him. That's a 1-0 scoreline.
And they even had the stuns over top. That was attached, chucking stuns from over by Crane just to slow the players down, and it's a free flag. Like, if you're the players from Epsilon there, you basically have to fly out into the pre-aim of Zuma and pray that you can connect and slow that flag down, but it was bad enough that they didn't even try. By the way, if you were concerned about the roll spot for FaZe, if you noticed, Attach had the STG off the rip, Priesta had the sub. There you go. Attach is supposedly going to be the flex player now. It might just be like a map-dependent thing.
Well, to be fair, that only really affects like a map or 2, so it's not going to it's not going to affect. Well, it could be big for the team, but yeah, you're not going to see it. It's not like all of a sudden Attach is going to have an STG out at all times. It'll just be really like London Ducks Hardpoint. It's like where the main change will be.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I was a bit critical of the change, but my concern is if you're at that point this late in the year when you have a team that's already found success in one way, and now you have to switch things, that means things are going pretty wrong.
Chance, this game's going to be 40-0.
What do you want to talk about? What's the next?
I don't know. God, 90 seconds in, the third cap's about to go home. It's like this map, like Arden Forest or Flak Tower, if you get 3-4 down at the beginning, like you can kind of survive that sometimes. If that happens here, it is so tough to get out of. This has literally been Epsilon for 2 straight minutes trying to fight out of a spawn trap.
So you brought it up earlier, and I'm just going to ignore gameplay here about Vortex having a poor week 1. If you go to like codcompstats.com, there's like 6 major categories that JP has like broken down for like the player rank sort of thing. Out of the 6 categories, Vortex was dead last from week 1 in 4 of them.
Yeah.
In Hilltime, he was like top 10, top 15, so he was doing okay for his team. Granted, they never won a single hardpoint, so make with that what you will.
Hey, you don't want your sub player in the hardpoint anyway.
Yeah, so that was category number 5 that he wasn't dead last in, and I think it was like S&D KD or something like that. He wasn't dead last, but he was second to last. Actually, Respawn Slayer, he was second to last. So yeah, Vortex struggled.
See if you can pick it up, and maybe it's something to do with the role change. But we'll get back to the action here. As it is 4-0 already, and we're a quarter of the way into this game. So right now we're on pace for a 16-0 FaZe victory. Now I don't know if that's going to necessarily be the case, as they're on the side where you're going to spawn out useless, and you can really punish early, especially when you get some streaks behind it as well. But they finally get set up and fire, and Zuma's behind him because he has pushes through B. One more gunfight there, and you may have had it out. Attach still has an opportunity to make the play. He finds 2 kills behind the backs of his teammates' dead bodies, and now he's out. Can Vortex find him?
What are you waiting for?
Well,
like, why? Why are you waiting? He's passed. You just go. You're the only hope for the team to stop the flag, and you're like, oh, has he gone past yet? Your teammate literally just died on the steps. You think Attach is hanging out? Like, Attach is going to go.
Honestly,
like, why?
This is turning into an uplink scoreline. There's another flag out. There is one player that is overextended, so Vortex may be able to get this.
Come on,
hold on.
Maven, come on.
Vortex
may be able to get this. He's going to take too long. He doesn't know what timings are. He's going to wait. Gets the kill, doesn't matter.
Yeah. It is now 6-0. FaZe with a touchdown on the board. They're seeing what more they can do. You almost got some more streaks there onto replays. Flag is returning home. All right, so you have a couple players here. This is the opportunity for Epsilon to maybe get a score in these final 60 seconds. But Zuma's grenade slows down for a moment. There's one more there. But Replays has the flag on the other side as Hockey drops. And Replays wins his one-on-one. I was going to say someone needs to come help him. I don't know that he needs it. Help finally comes in. Even if it's a second late, they're still going to get that out. And that is going to be... That's going to be cap number 7, Chance.
And let's talk about the play earlier where Vortex is like on the ramp down here. what's like the concern? Like, why are you playing like even a little bit passive? You can just sit on that head glitch. Like, your only job is to keep that flag from not going in. There's no point in trying to guess what like the timing is. Just sit on the head glitch of the ramp and just pre-aim exactly where it's going to be coming from. It's stuff like that that just like, I mean, obviously the big things are an issue, the slang's a problem, but even the little things are just completely off from Epsilon.
Here we go. Flag out.
Maven, stop.
There's flags out. Oh, I'm not selling a comeback. I am trying to maybe sell the narrative that they're going to score on the board the first half.
No, they're not.
But there's 17 glide bombs coming in. Vortex is now dropped. The Flood's coming over from the B bomb site. Reedy can't win his one-on-one. There's one more there. They're going to do it. Hockey's got it. Hockey's got it in extra time. There's one on the board for Epsilon.
Izuma just sat there and let it happen. Whatever, man. 7-1 lead, Epsilon. They found the start of the comeback, Maven. That's what it is.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you said what their only 2 map wins have come. Well, you said there were 2 different maps, right? Was it what, one
both
flag?
on flag.
They're both flag.
Yeah. This is a snowballing map.
That was a momentum-changing moment right there.
What's the most flag caps do you think we've had in a CTF? It's probably close to 7.
In a half, that's the most that I think I've seen live cast.
Probably. I mean, maybe at an open event, I'm sure somewhere.
Oh,
there's been like some blowouts, but
you know,
yeah.
on the alpha broadcast, I don't think I've seen more than 7.
Well, we'll see if FaZe can beat the record on the second side. I think they burned a couple streaks to make it, I don't know, slightly more difficult, but we're just going to pad some stats.
FaZe, you know, with the struggles they had last week, it's tough too because Epsilon's running into a team that's got to just be pissed. Like, they want to come in and rail them. Like, they want to come in and dismantle Epsilon. Everyone doubting FaZe, talking about their struggles in week 1. They want to come in and show this is a team that's capable of winning tournaments. And in this particular series, they have showed that. Hockey did get some streaks. He's found a glide bomb now. So the Flood, it felt like, what, 4.5 minutes of the first half were just a flood from FaZe. Much better start to this half for Epsilon, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to sell the comeback story, the question actually is like how good it... Well, no, it's not for this individual series. It's about FaZe. They started out 0-3. How good are they going to respond? Will the role swap help them out quite a bit? How much? And will they be the contender for the top 4 spot? Meanwhile, Vortex is pulling the flag. The question is, do the players challenge at a top ladder? But obviously, Hockey has it covered. So it's about the players mid-map. And now we talk about replays. That's what he was doing. Counter streak. See, I was going to criticize him for the same thing as Vortex, but he's out here making a good play. FaZe is just good.
They had a lot of streaks to work with, and now this could turn into a counter because you can get the return on one side. You're getting pushed in through underground, so keep a look on that number 4 on the mini map as the pistol goes their way. Zuma trying to come in behind, gets an awkward timing, but still able to win it. And this should be more than likely a score for FaZe unless the streaks then come in from Hockey. Hockey actually just died, so there'll be no streaks. That should be another score.
I mean, Zuma's lighting people up.
Dave's on the other side, though. Dave's dead.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Do you want to talk about that 1-bullet pistol kill? Like, I know the artillery had him weak, but that's how rough things are getting for Epsilon, that players are getting made one shot perfectly for, like, the right gun for the situation. The artillery just happens to clip them. At the very least, you see the streak coming in from FaZe is actually maybe going to prevent them.
Reedy was exercising there. Okay. Maybe he was testing airborne to see if he ran in the circle that long if the speed started to increase.
I mean, there's no reason to show Epsilon any sort of respect. Like, what nice things are there to say, Maven? Like, come on.
The replays on FaZe has just found. Oh, that was Zuma's streak. I thought he was finding his 7th in a row, but he's still on the 6th streak right now. So replays has already been fully streaked out once. He's looking to do it again. There's another touch, but on the other end, a 1-on-1 gunfight does go to Reedy. So we will have a bit of a stalemate here for a moment. But with 2 minutes left and a 7 flag lead for FaZe. Well, this game's been over since the opening 90 seconds.
Well, they're going to get 2 flags in, so nice job. Maybe get a 3rd in the next 2 minutes. I mean, when they're not spinning in circles, they're doing, I don't want to say better. Actually, honestly, it's been about the same. There wasn't too much of a difference.
Oh, dear Lord, Chance.
Yeah. It's only week 2 here, maybe.
It's true. It's true. Replays. Nice defensive work in the back, trying to get it done with the STG and the PPSH. I mean, it certainly has been. It was, what, 7-1 first half? Here you've played them 1-1, so there's definitely been improvements, and I know it's a little bit easier to deal with a spawn trap from this side. There's been some improvements. It won't really matter in the overall scoreline, but
Well, I mean, the question...
They didn't let FaZe score 20.
That's true. And again, the question for the improvements even is just like how FaZe, like how good are they going to be really, right? Like they have their second match today. They're closing it out against Epsilon tonight. And that's like the true test, right? That's the true test. You have a horrible first week. Can you bounce back? Of course, beating Epsilon, whatever. But if they can beat Echo Fox, then they're going to be in a much better spot. And then things really start to get interesting about who's going to come away with the top 4. And of course, Echo Fox is probably watching this and they're going to be like, hey, we're going to at least definitely ban London Docks S&D. Maybe not this map.
Oh, yeah, I would not play them on a Dog Search. That's for sure. Man, Echo Fox has been solid at Search because Aqua has been an absolute beast. But one more touch for old time's sake on both sides. Replays wins a one-on-one. That's going to make it much more difficult. I thought he just was about to turn and beam Vortex, but Vortex can't actually win his gunfight, so we may not have another score on the board. Vortex is coming back. Tries to dive in for the return, but can't actually get it through. So that's a third cap for Epsilon. Unfortunately, their opponents in FaZe have triple that with 9, but yeah, I mean, that was all the opening moments of this Game 3, but what a dominant performance from FaZe. 6-0 in Game 2 with some spectacular gameplay on London Docks. We stay on the same map, and they punish Epsilon and CTF.
Yes, they did. And the Hardpoint, admittedly a lot closer. The Hardpoint was where I was like, all right, like we might have ourselves a series.
Well, there's some moments where you thought Epsilon might bring it back. I didn't really feel like that in games 2 or 3.
Yeah, no,
Not
game 1, the opportunity was there. I mean, you had, even in the CTF, players earning streaks. There was definitely breaths of life.
It's a smile from FaZe.
Hey,
It's good to
a
see.
team of joy. We talked about this at the start. The team of joy. Epsilon brings joy to whoever they play against. FaZe now has an opportunity to start making some sort of run. Like, this is FaZe's week where they play 4 matches. They're doubled up today. Their last match is against Echo Fox. Get the momentum here. Like, if they go 4-0, then obviously they are right back into the swing of things. Of course, Echo Fox is going to be wanting to shut that down, but that should be a much better series. Like, Echo Fox versus FaZe a week ago, Echo Fox blows them out 3-0, and it's not even close. But now, FaZe's got a little bit of time to practice on land. Maybe they'll be.
They need to. I think FaZe need to win. They need to win 3 or 4 though. And that's what's so tough with this group when it's so hotly contested with just the competition where it is. Like an 0-3 week, you have to answer that with like a 3-1, 4-0 week. Like they need to have a strong week. And yes, at least you come in, you get an opponent that you feel. Well, you saw the confidence that FaZe was playing with. They knew they were going to win that series. And they came out and win the series. Now can they kind of carry that momentum on? Is what the real question will be. But I think everyone on Hot Mic, I think everyone in the community kind of expect FaZe to turn it around. It's just like what do they get back to? What level? Are we talking stage 1 playoff victor level, back to maybe stage 1 regular season level? Or are we talking open bracket top 12s? I don't know.
What did Temp say? Did Temp come out and say that, like, oh, we're going to beat him just like he said against TK?
Temp basically said, I asked if FaZe was going to go 4-0 this week, and he's like, no, they're playing us. That's basically what he said. So he feels confident going up against FaZe. But, guys, we do have a PlayStation instant reaction. We've got Jess on stage with Zuma.
Thanks, Maven. So as we were just discussing, you had kind of a rough start to this stage. Why do you think that is?
Too many mistakes. I always preach it when we lose. We just make dumb mistakes. So every team in this division is really good, so we need to make sure that we're just turning up for every match.
How have you addressed, or how do you plan to address that issue of just making too many mistakes?
Talking, to finding consistency and going back and watching the VODs and just making sure that we correct our mistakes. If we don't correct them, we're just going to keep losing. So got to make sure we got our heads on straight.
All right, well, and then now that you've got your first one under the belt and it was a 3-0, how are you feeling for the rest of this stage?
Feeling good. We won Season 1. We know what we can do. So at this point, it's just about us coming out with the fire and playing well, and we could beat any team here. We just need to put it together.
All right, well said. Thank you so much for the interview. This has been your PlayStation Instant Reaction. We'll be right back after this break.
We just experienced quite a brutal 3-0 here at the CWL Pro League. Welcome back. FaZe going to be able to get their first win here. And honestly, guys at the desk, I got to say, with 3-0s like that, this day's really zooming by. Nameless actually thought of that one, but my name's Rich Campbell, and I'm the only man dumb enough to actually say it. Joining me on the desk alongside Nameless, we also do have Revan, and got to have a little fun with that series, Revan, because Epsilon definitely didn't.
Yeah, I mean, the first map was close for a little bit there, but then once Zuma and replays get streaked out, they run away with it, and then what is there really to say about map 2 and map 3? I mean, it's a 6-0 in Search and Destroy, and then that CTF just wasn't even close. It's a good confidence win for FaZe. Good to see them get their first win on the board, but if you're the one Epsilon fan out there, I guess you're pretty disappointed.
I mean, honestly, analyzing this is going to be just about as difficult as the time that Epsilon actually had in that series. Not too much to really dive into there. When Chance was casting it, it honestly sounded like him playing in a pub. But for FaZe, how big could this really be, Nameless? I mean, they needed that first win, but is this really going to be enough? People said rip the Band-Aid off, get that 3-0. Is it really going to be enough, though, to kind of get them momentum?
It definitely can be. I mean, obviously that 3-0 wasn't really close, so they're definitely getting a little bit of confidence off that. And they're also separating themselves, saying, like, hey, we're not meant to be down here in the bottom of the standings. You know, like, we're better than that, and we're going to prove it. So they get that 3-0, they get some confidence, they go back, they scrim a little bit. I think they can roll that momentum into their next match. But as far as this match goes, that was just a beating. Like, we saw, like, glimpses of stage 1 phase in that match. So they're looking pretty good now, but you can't say too much because Epsilon's not that good.
And one of the guys who's going to be dealing that beating is definitely going to be the Italian Stallion. We got Zuma coming in with our play of the game, and that is presented by Scuff Gaming. And Revan, he was able to be very consistent throughout the whole series.
I mean, he's been consistent so far throughout stage 2. Right here, we're in round 4 Search and Destroy. The guy has 6 kills, 0 deaths. Zuma's been by far and away FaZe's best player from the matches that we've seen so far, and he's continuing to put up these performances, right? I remember before we ended the first week of stage 2, he dropped 50 kills in a Hardpoint. They did wind up losing that, and this is him just playing the cameras to perfection here, using his position. This is what you want to do as an SMG player, close the gap, catch your player right out of position just like that. Just smart heads-up play from Zuma all game long.
Let's talk about Epsilon for just a second here before we move over to our next match, but what exactly do they need to be doing, Nameless? I mean, this is a pretty rough position to be in to start things off. It's week 2, haven't got a win yet.
I'm just gonna be brutally honest. Their fundamentals are completely out of whack. Their slaying power is at an all-time low. Their teamwork, their comms, everything is probably not flowing correctly. They need to fix everything. There's really nothing else to say other than that. They're at an all-time low. They need to fix everything. They need to watch these teams and copy them. They need to fix their communication. There's so many things going wrong for this team, and there's no time for rest. You have to get better. You're currently sitting at 0-4. If I'm Epsilon, I'm working on every single thing, every facet of my gameplay, and I'm fixing it. Like, they have to.
So you hit pretty much everything there. So Epsilon, you need to do just about everything. No
Seriously.
time for rest.
Got to restart.
Exactly. But they got a little bit of time to do it. They no time for rest, but a little bit of time to be working on those. FaZe, on the other hand, we already know that they are going to have a doubleheader, right? So they are going to, when we see the schedule, that they need to be getting ready. Oh, Epsilon has a doubleheader as well. I didn't even notice, and they got to play against TK. Take back what you said. You got to change everything, and you got to do it in about an hour.
Yep.
Red Reserve versus Evil Genius is going to be next here, and we'll start